Great. Thanks you guys so much for all coming out. We are very excited for our special guest author here tonight. So I will not hold your guys' attention because you did not come here for me. So here is Amanda Cleary Easta. Yay!
Thanks for coming. This is super exciting for me. As Jessica said, I'm Amanda Cleary Easta. That's 3 names, complicated story, but I'm not going to talk about that one. So, but I am going to tell you guys about these stories, in case you haven't read them. So these are the Tree Street Kids stories. There's 4 books right now. And Jack versus a Tornado is the first one. And we've got The Hunt for Fang. I'm going to just give you a little peek. If anybody wants to hang out for a craft afterwards, we're going to do a little coyote bookmark there. And then these 2 books just came out a couple weeks ago. Lions to the Rescue is number 3. And Mystery in Crooked Creek Woods is number 4. So that's the mystery out of the 4. All right, so I think since we're going to do the little coyote craft, I thought I might read from The Hunt for Fang, right? And who likes animals here? Yeah. So this book's got lots of pets and wild animals in it. If you like that, I do. All right, so I'm just going to start with chapter 1. It's called Howl in the Night. The howl woke me up. Oh, I should say too, Jack Finch, if you haven't read the stories, Jack Finch is our main character. This is Jack right here. So that's Jack Finch. And then this is his little sister Midge, his best friend Ellison. And then you can see Roger and Ruthie on this book here. Ruthie's got the pirate eye patch. Okay. So back to the story. Howl in the night. The howl woke me up. Actually, it was more of a screeching, yo, yo, yo. I sat bolt upright and banged my head into the low, slanted ceiling over the right side of my bed. Ow! So much for my nice dream about hitting the tie-breaking home run. I hit my head about 100 times since we moved from the farmhouse to Kings Grove in the suburbs at the beginning of summer. I glanced sideways at my purple Nickelodeon time blaster clock. For now, it sat on a folding chair on the unslanted ceiling side of my bed. The goo-green numbers glowed 4 a.m. At 6:30 sharp on school days, it would sing out, Nickelodeon. The first day at my new school, August 29th, 1995, it's like all time, was only a couple weeks away. I flapped back onto my pillow just as something white with black spots and the size of my little sister hurtled through the gray dark. She landed, all pointy knees and elbows, right onto my belly. Boom! The wind rushed out of me. The howl must have woken up Midge, too. He was dressed in her favorite 101 Dalmatian pajamas. Apparently, the foolproof anti-sister room alarm I'd rigged up wasn't so foolproof. Sheesh. Little sisters are no respecters of territorial boundaries. Did you hear that, Jack? She whisper screamed into my face. I could smell her warning breath. And chocolate. How Midge always manages to smell like a Tootsie Roll, I have no idea. It came from the cemetery. Adams Cemetery is on the corner, and our new house is the first house on the block, right next door to the old graveyard. The most ancient tombstones jutting out of the grass. Jagged bottom teeth. Even though both of our bedrooms are in the attic, Midge's room was technically about 10 feet closer to whatever was out there. I know there's no such thing as ghosts. And there definitely aren't wolves in the suburbs of Chicago. I shoved her off. Kicking and flailing, I untangled myself from the sheet, scrambled into the dormer window, what my dad calls a doghouse. The window juts out of the slanted ceiling right beside my bed. There's plenty of room for a guy to sit and do important man fishing. Yes, a doghouse. Midge squished in beside me. So much for plenty of room. My second story window looks out over Cherry Avenue. From here, I mostly see bushy treetops, but I can also see street lamps standing kitty corner to my right, where Cherry makes a T with Oak Street, my friend Ellison Street. The sidewalk below, heading right, eventually dead ends at the Forest Preserve. Heading left, it leads to the cemetery next door. I slid the top window sash down. We pressed our faces against the screen. The air smelled like musty metal and wet grass. Another sound echoed from farther away, a racket of yowls, scratched like fingernails over the dark. Ghosts. Midge's voice vibrated the screen. All my life, I was already 10 as of June 2nd. We had lived with my grandparents on their farm in Goodnow. I was used to the sound of stray dogs howling at night. Sometimes packs of them roamed the fields. Sometimes they snatched chickens. Before I go to bed, I would always make sure my pet chicken Henrietta was locked up safe in the coop. These howls were different. They sounded almost human. Midge tugged my arm. Can we catch a ghost, please? After all, Mom said you can't have a dog. She didn't say anything about ghosts. I tried to imagine playing fetch with a ghost, but I was still working on convincing my mom how much I needed a dog. Maybe a stray dog was outside, searching for a nice kid like me. Smart, no matter what fourth grade math said. Good throwing arm, nice day animals. I imagined he'd have sticky outy fur around his snout, and ears, and over his eyes. He'd be white with splotches of brown and black, or black with splotches of white and brown. He'd sit next to me in the window seat, right from Midge, was still yanking on my arm and begging to go investigate. When I'd say, good, Snickers, Rex, what? He'd nuzzle my hand with his wet nose, and he'd be one of those dogs that looks like they're smiling at you when they can't. That settled it. Fine, I said, shaking my arm free. I crawled out of the window seat and over to my bed. Let's go catch whatever is out there. Midge whisper howled in a group. Okay, so that's the first chapter of Hunt for Fame. So we have some time for some questions about the books or about writing. And then if you guys want to stick around, there's some tables back there. We are going to make this, it's pretty easy. It's a little coyote bookmark. So if anybody wants to stay for the craft afterwards, we could do that. But does anybody have any questions about any of the books or have ideas for new books? Why is it called Fang? So this is called The Hunt for Fang, and I won't give away exactly who Fang is, but if you look on the cover, you can kind of see, can you come up here and see this? You see those little rolling eyes there? Yeah, that's Fang. So, did you want to see Judah? So, so Fang is the local wildlife, and that's just what Jack decides to name him, because he kind of looks at him as the enemy. Because Jack, in this story, will eventually have a new pet. He wants to protect him from Fang. So he just kind of he decided to name him that.
What's your favorite book that you've written?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I get that question a lot. I think this is kind of my favorite because my kids and I do a lot of hiking, and I love to be outside, and I love nature, and so there's a lot of that in here, and that's probably why it's a little bit thicker than the other books. So I really love that. And in the first book, Jack just moves to the suburbs. He's just starting to make friends. And in this one, he's kind of part of the Tree Street Kids now. And now it's time to, go on a little bit, some more adventures together. And so that's that's probably my favorite. Really did have fun with this fourth book though, because it's a mystery. And the part I really love about it is Jack and his best friend Ellison are writing their own mystery. So their mystery is also inside the bigger mystery. So it was really fun. And I got to kind of, think, how would if I were a 10-year-old boy, I really had to use my imagination. What kind of story would I write? So it was a lot of fun.
What children's book inspired you to write?
Oh, that's good. What children's book inspired me to write? Well, probably A Wrinkle in Time was one of my favorite books, and it just transported me to a completely different place. And I kind of felt, we haven't read it, Meg is in her room and there's a storm and she feels like she doesn't fit in, kind of, so I could relate to that. When I was your age, I can still kind of relate to that. So yeah, so that one made me kind of want to, like, I want to write a book like that. And yeah, so what's your favorite book? No, that's okay.
I like all books.
I think that's a great answer. I like all books as well.
Can you
Yes.
share about what your process was for writing these books? Like, did you have a plan? Did you know you were going to write 4 to begin with? What was the process for you?
Well, as far as the number right now, because it's a series, the publisher said, let's start, with 4. So that was kind of more of a publishing decision. And then, so the first 2 came out together, and then these other 2 came out together. And they're set in the 1990s. So when a lot of the parents grew up in that time. So and that's actually when I raised my kids. My kids were growing up in that decade, and so that was that kind of sparked the setting. And then I really liked the idea of having them in the suburbs, because then they had access to farm towns and in the country, and then the city. The next book? That's I'll have to work on that.
Rest for the weary.
Yeah.
Did you start writing as a kid or as an adult?
I started writing as a kid. So I remember the first story I wrote, I think I was about 6. Is anybody around 6 years old here? I was about 6, and I remember writing my first story and thinking, I have written. Well, if you write a story when you're 5, or you can tell a story. You don't always have to write it down. Yeah, Helen.
What did you liked most about writing the books?
What did I like most about writing the books? It was fun. I love puns, so there's puns in there. I really liked that the kids could have adventures just in their own neighborhood. They didn't have to go into another world. There's just enough mild peril that, which I think all kids need some mild peril. So it was just fun. It was really fun to get to know the kids, and they just kind of started to grow and become people in my mind. And I really like the adults. I like the grown-ups in the stories. I wanted the grown-ups to be loving people, fun people, but also people who, like how your parents are. It's like just trying to do what's best for you and teach you well. So.
What was hard about writing these books?
I had to write. That's what was hard. All that writing. So, because I have a job during the day, and then I had to try and figure out, and even though my kids are grown, they still, for some reason, want my attention. And, I have to, I have a family and a house to take care of. So I had to, just figure out when to write, all those little in-between times and miss a lot of things. So I didn't get to do things with my family as much. Yeah, so that was hard.
You've written other books besides these ones?
I have written some children's stories, not in book form. They were in magazines and Sunday school curriculum, and I did write a book, but I haven't finished it yet. So you can write a book without it being published, which is pretty cool because you could say, yes, I have written a book. So you too can write a book. And maybe eventually it will get published. You know what, you asked what were some favorite things. Some of the things I really loved in these books, the illustrations by Aiden Peterson. He did the covers. He was great to work with. And he did some really fun, who likes pictures in their books? Yeah. See, there's one right, that's for you. Look at that, someone drew that just for you, because you like pictures. So that was really neat to have the pictures in the books. And then if you like science, does anybody like science or nature? You do. Books, we know people like books. And what else is in here? History. Does anybody like history? Henry? Henry does. So there's these cool little facts. They look like little sticky notes. And so there's, so those are throughout the books too. Those were fun. Those were fun to research. I love to research.
Do you have plans for future books?
It's all up here right now, and so I do have some ideas for more of these, and so I'm going to be taking some time to write all that down and see if anybody else is excited about it. And then I'll probably go back to the book I wrote before. I have some picture books I'm working on too, so it's always something floating around up here or on paper. So.
And all your books are geared for children? Is there
Yes, so these are designated as or categorized as middle grade, so that's usually ages 8 to 12. But my dad's 81 and he loves them. So, and I know there's some parents who read to their younger kids.
Yeah.
So,
so you don't publish adult
no,
for the level,
I'm sorry, say
the level, an older level. You don't publish an older level one.
No,
Okay.
no, I don't understand adults at all. So I have not written for them. But Ella?
Who is your favorite character?
Oh, that's like saying, who's your favorite kid? So I really do love all the kids. There's different things I like about each of them. So I do like, the other thing people ask me is who are you most like? So some people think that I'm like Ellison, which is kind of funny, but because he's a bookworm. So Ellison's a bookworm. But I sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit more like Jack. He's like just trying to figure things out, remember to let his dog out. I mean, yeah, so I don't have to let him out, but yeah, so I do really like all of them. Who's your favorite?
Allison.
Allison is your favorite? Yeah. The bookworm. Yeah. Midge is very funny and she likes all the science and so he's got a good pun. So she makes me laugh. Midge really makes me laugh. So. When am I going to? Would you like me to start like right away?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm working on it up here, so I'm thinking about it, but I haven't written too much down yet. So, but I'm gonna get to work right away. Okay. Can you guys think of some ideas for new books? Like, what would you guys want to see in another book like this? Like, what kind of adventure? What? In Chicago?
Jack.
His Lego.
Oh,
Lego.
okay. I'll remember that. I do mention Legos in here, but not that one. Yeah.
Maybe Jack goes on a big family road trip, like around the country.
Maybe Jack goes on a road trip with his family. Yeah. That's actually kind of the next one I have in mind that I think they need to maybe go to North Carolina
Yeah.
during Thanksgiving and have an adventure there. So yeah, Henry. Pokemon, that is a glaring error on my part. There are no Pokemon in there for you. You show us.
Yeah.
So, okay, who's your favorite Pokemon? Oh, Pikachu. No?
Mine is up. He's so strong.
Oh, he's the strongest. Okay.
Mine is
Mewtwo? He's cool.
About the adventures on a camping trip.
A camping trip. Yeah, that's great. And they're not a camping trip, but in this one they have the survival camp at their vacation Bible school.
Oh, good.
Which
I like that
oh,
vacation.
yeah, that's good.
I like
Camping trip would be like really out in the North Carolina would be great for that. I live in the mountains, so
Oh, nice.
it's
Right.
that'd be a great setting. Yeah.
maybe they have an adventure in the Amazon.
The Amazon. An adventure in the Amazon. That would be some research for me. Yeah, that's wild. Kind of like a Jumanji thing. I don't know if they go to the Amazon, but that would be an adventure. I was thinking about sending them to India, because my husband lived in India for many years, and I thought, maybe go on a mission trip or something. So.
Maybe Jack gets a new baby brother.
Oh my goodness, a new baby brother. Yeah, maybe Jack gets a new baby brother. That would be an adventure for his mom and dad. That's a good idea.
Maybe they like go with missionaries and see how like missionaries do it.
Yeah, go with missionaries. Yeah, they would learn a lot, wouldn't they? Yeah, maybe they could go with a missionary to India or to the Amazon. Yeah. Those are great ideas, you guys. Wow, I just want to get home and start writing. Well, should we do craft time? Or okay, thank you guys, and you guys can ask me other questions when we're doing the craft, which I'm sure will elicit some questions because it's more like on me. So, thank you guys for coming. This is so fun.